society tells us that it's going to be money and the name on your door and whether you have a corner office and what car you drive and how many likes you have on social media and all these things. And I've just got to say, I think it's an inside job, and I think it's about love, and I think it's about, serving, but serving in a way that takes care of you.
I've said this on the show before. I've done 4 eulogies, and, I did
Mm.
the I d 4 I've done more, but I did 4 for my grandparents. Each of them were different. All 4 of my grandparents have passed now, and there was a commonality between all of them. You talk about who they love, the impact they made in your life or the world around you. You talk about the energy that they provided you in the world. You talk about their, for my one of my grandfathers, his love of God. He was my my grandmother's Sicilian grandmother, the one that made me feel like Simba. He was the stalwart. He had the focus. And I remember standing up in the church and delivering these, and I can feel that energy. But when you talk about those things, you're actually having a deeper level of a connection. You're not afraid that I'm gonna think you're being too woo-woo. That's
Mhm.
really because the key is somebody needs to hear these things, and I
Mhm.
enjoy it. I like
Yeah,
to build on that. That's a connection on a much deeper level. It's not surface level. In
that's
fact,
right.
you and I can walk in a room and we can know exactly who's surface and exactly who's deep by the first 5 seconds of a conversation. And so when you talk about things that are in this level of depth and your goal is to unite, humanity and to bring people together on a larger scale, to serve as a catalyst, as a spark, depth of conversation, connection, thinking and sharing with people is so valuable. And I think that's a very worthy purpose.
And Scott, it requires self-trust. Back to the big circle round, right? And at the bedside, what I'd say is very similar to those eulogies is what I learned, which is people are dying and they never spoke to me about the things we spend our entire lives chasing: money, cars, houses, titles, Ivy League schools. They never told me any of these things. The only things they spoke about were they loved? Did they love well? What impact did they make? And what regrets did they have? And the regrets I found were never about something they did and failed. It was always about not having the courage to, letting fear stop them. And those were the lessons I walked away with. And when you were saying this, you learned it through 4 eulogies to people that shaped you. And you could see the difference in all of them and the impact they made in the world. And that's my wish for people that, society tells us that it's going to be money and the name on your door and whether you have a corner office and what car you drive and how many likes you have on social media and all these things. And I've just got to say, I think it's an inside job, and I think it's about love, and I think it's about, serving, but serving in a way that takes care of you, and that's like the fine dance, that I think we get wrong and then we learn and then we get it right and we only get it right for a little bit and then we fall and then we do it again. And so I think of all of this as life school lessons, and I'm just happy to be with everybody who's listening and be on that journey of life school together.
Yeah, it reminds us, something else I've been deep thinking about recently, which I do a lot. I'm an energy person, so I love the energy of a room. I have no problem being extroverted. Jim Quick says that an introvert walks into a room and has 5 chips, and after each conversation they give out 1 chip, and when all 5 chips are gone, they're done. They have nothing left to give. An extrovert walks into the room and starts every morning with 0 chips, and
Mm.
every conversation builds until they crash. And what usually happens to us extroverts is that you build, you build, you build, and then you are absolutely exhausted because you end up overdoing it, which plays right into your teachings and your writings. But one of the things I was deep thinking about was How many people do you love that you would stand up at their eulogy and deliver at their funeral and deliver a eulogy that you would tell the world, not just, your friend, but stand up in a room, a crowded room, and tell everybody how much that person meant to you? And how many of you haven't done that in real life? How many of us haven't done that? I started Googling the living eulogy. I started thinking, what if I created a business that was the living eulogy, where people actually come on and they go, "Hey mom, it's Scott. I just wanted to tell you, first of all, I feel like we grew up together. We have all these things in common. I'm so grateful. These are the challenges, but here's how we came out." And you just share the things that often, the minute you start to share them in real life, it gets too deep or it gets too uncomfortable. And then someone ends up frustrated, or, you're in an Italian family. I don't know how the Indian families are, but in the Italian family, you can get super upset with each other, walk away, walk back in like 20 minutes later, and nobody remembers anything. And so you're done. It's over.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's just something I've been deeply thinking about. And I think to your point, think of the impact that this conversation could have on somebody, on thinking just about somebody that has really made a difference in your life right now. And have you told them? Have
Oh,
you
I think
showed
that's
them?
such a great way to start, because there are people, you don't, what we're not saying is to go and be vulnerable with people who you don't have that trust
Great
with,
point. Yep.
because that can be really harmful to you, and it can really unravel self-trust. And so to know who you're speaking to and know, give it, certainly take risks, certainly trust yourself, and you might make some mistakes or whatever it is. But what I say is pay attention to how people show up, because they're telling you who they are from the beginning, and you want to believe them. Allow them to make mistakes, and then allow yourself to surrender and learn that lesson. But certainly, what I'd say is, start with somebody that you haven't told them how much of an impact they've made, and do exactly what you said, which is just tell them,
Nothing
and
feels
that's
better,
always,
does it? Nothing feels better,
that's so
does it?
true. And even bring to mind, I'd say, somebody in your life who you'd like to have a closer connection with, and start there, because that is the invisible bridge between our hearts. You can build it through authentic appreciation. And even the people that have hurt you, there's something good about them. And there's somewhere that you can see their light. And when you hold them in that space of being strong and capable and resourceful, oftentimes they show up as that. But when we go into something thinking, "Oh god, not you again. Oh god," and we wonder why they don't have the energy that we're wishing for, right? Like, the real question is, how are you showing up in this? And might you be able to shift how you show up and watch the conversation shift as well?
Yeah, that giving first mentality really does pay off. Isn't it crazy how I'm 45? I wish I knew some of these things in my 20s. It would be so much easier. Life would have been not the same journey, but it definitely is interesting. I look at the way I text people now, where someone will text me something. I am extremely quick to say thank you, extremely more open with the I love yous, extremely more like just vulnerable in general, but in a way that's allowing people to feel that energy,
Yeah,
because I know I'm more in touch with what I need. I'm more in touch with who I am. And I think
yeah.
that's a lot of your messaging, is really to identify who you are inside, what you need, and how you need to find that, and how you have to protect against some of the things that could take that energy away. And obviously, you're doing a great job of getting it out there and showing everybody. If you like clips like this, I have a similar clip here. And if you want to watch the full video, click here.